Welcome back, everyone. This is my full Suicide Squad breakdown video Easter eggs for the entire movie. Hopefully you've had a chance to see it. It's on HBO Max right now and in theaters. If you haven't, be sure to go see it. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There's going to be a bunch of really big stuff happening in the next week because of Marvel's What If episodes and a bunch more DC stuff happening before the end of the year as well. Careful for spoilers for the entire movie, and we'll just start at the beginning. So if you didn't know, this movie is not meant to be a reboot of the original Suicide Squad movie. As they explain with the timeline and the characters that they bring back from the first one, it's meant to be kind of a sequel, but not really a sequel, sort of a creative reimagining. But the way the timeline works is that it picks up after the events of the Justice League movie because of
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Bloodsport's origin in putting Superman in the ICU with a kryptonite bullet. Speaking of the devil too, originally James Gunn said in the first version of his story, the Suicide Squad, instead of going up against Starro, were going to be facing or trying to track down an evil version of Superman who was being controlled by someone else, sort of reminding you of the nightmare scene from the Justice League Snyder Cut with evil Superman being controlled by the anti-life equation in Darkseid. A lot of people also wondering, why didn't Superman or the other Justice League members know about what was going on with Starro here in this Nazi base Jotunheim? I think the idea is that because it had been down here since before Superman.
Yeah, that's what I was asking throughout the whole entire movie. I was like, where the fuck is Superman? Where's Batman? Like, where are these guys at while all this is happening in this remote?
Landed on planet Earth, so
there's a fucking space starship, starfish in the middle of a fucking.
He wasn't looking for it,
you know.
Then once they did learn about Superman's powers, they just reinforced some of the lab walls with lead so that he wouldn't be able to detect what was going on down there. But the way they play it is as if this is like the next mission in a long line of missions that Amanda Waller has been sending Task Force X, the Suicide Squad, out on year to year as events have gone on since the events of the first Suicide Squad movie. But the actual movie opens over the credits with Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues as they introduce the first Suicide Squad team, the fake-out team as we'll call them, the distraction that Amanda Waller creates.
Bro, I was so disappointed in, like, I guess not disappointed, but I was like, what is going on when I first saw the first 10 minutes. I was so confused. I just thought, I guess it's my fault for having like these like, I just thought it was going to be something else in the beginning.
That allows the
or with these
team
characters
to actually enact their mission. Amanda Waller herself gets a big boss level upgrade in terms of her level of shadiness during this movie. If you thought that she was underhanded during the first film and kind of villainous, she's way worse during this film. The whole idea though is that every single character in this movie is kind of a villain, just to different degrees. Some of them are worse than others. And arguably the real main villain isn't even Starro, even though he's literally the biggest villain in the film. It's actually secretly revealed to be the US government and the military that's behind everything that precipitates the events of the film. But they open with a slightly different version of a roll call montage than what we got during the first Suicide Squad movie, introducing the different team members from Team A, the first team. Starting with Michael Rooker's Savant, who is a Batman villain. His special abilities are similar to Bloodsport and Peacemaker. He's a sharpshooter, he's supposed to be a genius. Later, Amanda Waller also kind of sets up that joke with each team member supposedly being carefully selected for their unique abilities, implying that they're supposed to have different abilities. But when Amanda Waller says it's a Bloodsport and he calls her out on it, like, wait a minute, are you playing a joke on me? Because Peacemaker's the exact same as me, he has the same abilities. It's her giving away her ruse, giving away the secret mission within a mission that she's running, that she's secretly double-crossing all of them, which is a big trope of Suicide Squad stories. In every Suicide Squad story, there are a couple things that have to happen. It has to be a group of really despicable characters that try to do a little bit of good. They have to kill off a couple of the team members at least, and Amanda Waller always has to double-cross the team. And when I said there are a lot of record drop moments during the movie, a lot of those record drop moments are because of different double crosses. There are many different double crosses that happen. The big difference, though, in the way they open this new movie from the original Suicide Squad movie is that they get right into the mission within moments of the opening scene. When they're implanting the bomb in his head, the Doctor is played by John Ostrander himself, the creator of the Suicide Squad in the comics. It's like his version of a Stan Lee cameo scene. Rick Flagg comes back from the first film, giving you a sense for the timeline, the continuity with that first film. Like I said, takes place.
I gotta go back and watch
the
the first Suicide Squad.
History with Superman. Also because Rick Flagg, Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn are back, and they reference the events of that first mission that they went on. This is just meant to feel like the next mission that they go on. The whole idea being that Amanda Waller just sends out
This
iterations
movie came
of
out
Task
so
Force
long
X
ago
all the
too.
time, shotgun style, just throwing bodies
Been
at
a
a
minute.
problem because she literally does not care whether any of them live or die, only that the mission gets completed, which sort of sets up the whole idea of the two different teams. Then when they introduce the rest of that first team, Rick Flagg says that they think the term Suicide Squad is derogatory. Their true name is Task Force X. That's actually a big comic book Easter egg. When John Ostrander first created the Suicide Squad, the original name of the team was Task Force X. We meet Nathan Fillion's TDK, and even though he refuses to explain it to the other characters, TDK stands for the Detachable Kid because of his ability to detach his arms.
This is
And the
so
way they play
dumb.
the visual effect of it is
What
almost like
is
you're pulling the
this?
arms off an action figure. The way Nathan Fillion described him is that he was supposed to be annoying and pretty useless in a fight, which he was. And if you thought it was weird that some of these characters feel like such big douchebags, the whole idea is they did that on purpose because they were killing them off really quickly at the beginning of the film. Pete Davidson is probably the best example of that. Like, he feels like this crazy douchebag character, but he is the first one to die. They bring back
I really
Captain
thought he was
Boomerang
gonna
from
be
that
in there
first film,
longer.
and then later when Harley
Yo,
boards
what's
the
up,
plane and
Dom?
says hello to him, like, welcome back,
How's it
haven't
going,
seen
bro?
you since the last mission, they're just referencing the events.
I just got done well, not just, but watched Suicide Squad a little earlier ago. Yeesh. Really enjoyed it, man. Really enjoyed it.
Of that first movie, Harley Quinn saying that she wound up back in Belle Reve because she had road rage inside a bank. So this is also meant to be after the events of the Birds of Prey movie. At some point after that, she robbed another bank, got arrested, and she is wearing an alternate version of her costume.
Great
from the
movie,
comics,
hell yeah,
that
bro.
red costume
It
with
was
the
good.
jacket. It says "Live Fast."
I laughed a
Clown
lot.
on the
I
back,
enjoyed
which
it.
is a reference to the Joker. James Gunn did say, though, that he never really planned on using Joker in this movie, but he is still alive in present day in the DC universe, so even though you don't see him in this movie, he's still presently running around Gotham committing crimes.
I'm so glad it wasn't anything like anything we've seen. Yeah, for sure. Like, it was enjoyable, man. Like the only thing I would say though, bro. I thought the characters like Pete Davidson or the first batch of the Suicide Squad, I thought they were gonna be in this. They will have a little bit more screen time. You know, they were kind of like in and out. But I think that was the purpose of those characters, huh? Just to introduce like how this movie's gonna be.
We meet Flula Borg's Javelin. It was so weird to see him in this movie. He started out as a comedy YouTuber. I'm always surprised when I see former YouTubers show up in big movies like this. He's only in the movie to be this joke throwaway character like Pete Davidson's Blackguard, and to set up that whole twist with Harley Quinn killing Starro with the Javelin, but it was fun to see him pop up. They introduced Mon Gal from the Superman mythology in the comics, also establishing the fact that aliens
Mongal went out crazy, dude. She went out crazy. Mongal went out crazy. I think she was one of the most brutal deaths in the in the movie, like so fast. They put the suicide in the Suicide Squad. They had to show us they aren't afraid to waste these people. Yeah, that's facts, bro. That was facts. And I think that I understood that a little more later. I think I went into the movie with like preconceived notions about like a lot of these characters. Poor Polka Dot Man. Oh man, how they did my man dirty, bro. His whole character was being developed. Okay, his whole character, right, along the way was being developed. And Milton, facts, bro. Polka Dot Man, I hate that was one of the most disappointing ones. Next, okay, so first it was Pete. You know, I'm a huge fan of Pete Davidson. You know, just entirely. So to see him gone early like that, I was just like, oh shit. His mommy issues. That's what I'm saying, man. They slow burned the fuck out of Polka Dot Man, bro. They slow burned his ass. I'm talking about character development from the beginning of the movie until he serves his purpose, and they fucking eliminate that guy. My man Polka, bro, RP in the chat, bro, for Polka Dot Man. How they gonna do him like that, bro?
being on Earth.
Develop the whole fucking character. Develop the whole fucking character, and then just do his ass like that, bro. I'm sad, bro. He was crushed. Hey, For real.
Not a new thing. Superman is an alien, obviously, so it was a big deal during the Man of Steel movie when he came to Earth and everybody freaked out, like, oh my god,
Literally,
aliens. But it also
facts.
helps foreshadow the Starro twist, the idea that Starro came to Earth even before Superman's pod, so the government knew about the existence of extraterrestrials long before Superman ever showed up, but just didn't say anything because, like they established during the movie, they're all super shady. Then we meet Weasel, probably the big
I hated Weasel, dude. Weasel is so I did not want to see any of him.
biggest WTF joke character of the whole movie because of the way they bring him back in that post-credit scene after killing him off in the first 7 minutes of the film. Just to give you an idea of Weasel's character, James Gunn said that mentally, he's supposed to be so dumb, he's barely aware of his surroundings. Like Rick Flagg said, we think that he agreed to come on the mission, we're not totally sure. James Gunn said that he's supposed to make King Shark seem
He
like
looks
a
so
genius
gross.
in comparison.
He
He's
looks
being
so
played by
gross.
Sean Gunn in motion capture, his brother, who also has a separate cameo scene when they're introducing Bloodsport's character, so Sean Gunn is in the movie twice as two different characters. This character here that he's playing, as some of you probably guessed, because he has all the dates tattooed around his head, is Calendar Man from Batman The Long Halloween. Is just like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He plays both Kraglin and he's the on-set stand-in double for Rocket Raccoon, so now he's played two different fur cover creatures. The reason why Weasel looks so hilariously freaky is because James Gunn said he was based on the look of Bill the Cat, the cartoon strip cat, who was purposefully created to look really horrible and gross in a funny way. As the team rolls out, they establish the whole vibe of Amanda Waller's support team inside the command center, all of them laying bets on who's going to die first, who's going to survive. Steve Agee is playing John Economos. He's coming
Dude, she ended up going she ended up being clutch later on in the movie.
back for the Peacemaker series, but he's also the on-set motion capture double for King Shark, so just like Sean Gunn, he was in the movie twice as two different characters. They give you a brief look
He
at
was
all their criminal
fantastic.
records.
Facts.
They joke about how weird the characters are. Like one of them asks if Mon Gal is some sort of alien. Is she a god? That's also
Bro,
a bit of a
bro, she went hole in one, bro. Hole in one. Savant, damn man.
setup for King Shark's character because he is the son of the shark god. They also want to establish the idea that the team members here, Amanda Waller's team, doesn't really care about these members. They haven't done a lot of research about them. They're not meant to be very important. Like, who cares about these people? Setting up the big joke about them not knowing that Weasel couldn't swim when he drowns immediately after jumping out the back of the plane. Harley Quinn, who has a thick Brooklyn accent, claims American women love accents because they don't got none. A lot of the comedy from her character in the movie, a lot of the WTF.
Dude, talk about Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's scene when she's escaping through the fuck do you call it? When she's escaping the fucking the fortress or whatever. That is one of the best scenes I've seen in movies in a while. That scene right there was so good, so beautifully shot. The fighting, you know, the confidence of her, like it was so good. Like it was such a good scene when she was escaping. I thought it was definitely one of like the highlight moments. And all these colorful things, all these colorful flowers or whatever they were, it was such a good fucking moment in the movie, and it showed how crazy she was. Oh, definitely, bro, definitely.
TF moments are built on the fact that she's a walking contradiction and has zero impulse control. I enjoyed what James Gunn did with her character in this movie a little more than what they did with her in the first movie and the Birds of Prey movie. Margot Robbie was just fantastic in general, though. They hit
She
the
was.
beach,
She
seemingly
always
killing
is.
Weasel in the process, hilariously, and reveal Amanda Waller's ruse when Blackguard gives them away, saying that he contacted the Corto Maltese army ahead of time to exchange his own safety. The whole idea, though, is that Amanda Waller set this up herself. She engineered this situation, purposefully allowing Blackguard to think that he was getting away with his double cross, setting
You lost it when you saw the birds, yeah.
their team to fail as a distraction so that the entire Cultural Maltese army would be busy on this side of the island while the second team with Bloodsport was landing on the other side of the island. They shoot his face off immediately and then kill the rest of the team, almost the rest of the team, in rapid succession. Each death more gruesome and funny than the last. R.I.P. Savan, who just completely flips out, gets killed by Amanda Waller using the bomb in his head. Later, the bird lands on his head, pecking at him, eating him, as if it's karma coming back around for him killing the bird at the beginning of the movie with his ball. R.I.P. Captain Boomerang and Mongal, who get taken out by the helicopter. TDK is probably one of the funniest deaths.
Mongal was the most Manga was so brutal. Her death was so brutal in this movie. It was crazy. Boomerang hurt me. Hurt. Boomerang man hurt you. Yeah, dude,
Scenes
definitely.
just because of the way he goes out with him shooting his arms and him writhing on the beach in the distance. Javelin winds up giving Harley Quinn his javelin to set up the Starro kill, but she carries it around for the entire movie, not really sure what to do with it. She doesn't really use it for the first time until she kills all the guards while she's escaping that prison. Then, after they get rid of most of that first team, they play the song The People Who Have Died by the Jim Carroll Band, commenting on the action. Then they reveal Team 2 with Idris Elba's Bloodsport. He was meant to be sort of a replacement for Will Smith's Deadshot during the movie, but Team 2 is basically Bloodsport, King Shark, probably one of the best characters in the movie, Polka Dot Man, played by David Josh Malshian from the Ant-Man movies. He was also in a DC movie before this too. He played one of the Joker's thugs during Batman The Dark Knight. Ratcatcher 2, then John Cena's Peacemaker character, who we also learn is obviously on that whole secret mission within the mission. So Bloodsport, like I said, thrown in Belle Reve prison for
Bro, John Cena's character, he had his moments, but bumped him. Yeah, bump Peacemaker, bro. I was about to say, man, John Cena's character. Are you kidding me? John Cena was good in this movie for sure. I really enjoyed his acting. I think also like Peacemaker is like, you hope for. There's like, I feel like with characters, there's certain like characters where they're a straight line, right? And then kind of throughout the movie, they kind of developed into like other forms of the straight shot character we get in the beginning, right? So what Peacemaker's character, what was surprising about him is that he stayed consistent through the whole movie, meaning that his character development, whereas sometimes like it would sometimes, let's say he's going on a straight line, right? Line throughout the whole movie, through the first hour and a half, and but in this whole time, his character stays the same. His morals, his integrity, the way he is, and you would hope that there would be change, right? But ultimately not. He still stays the same character, and I think I think the way that like that was played out was interesting to me, because even though you could see in his emotions, like he felt bad what he was doing to the new friends he had. He knew that also he is himself, right? He is the Peacemaker, and I thought that was very interesting. How, and not that I see characters like that so often where they stay like consistent like that through the whole entire movie, right? And that was very surprising because a lot of these characters had like these revelations, and especially with the shark guy, what's his name? Uh, Whatever, the shark guy. What I think one of the funniest jokes they said was the Megladouche. What's up with Megladouche over here? That was so funny, man. Like even him, right? He was like, "I'm gonna eat you." I think it was so interesting how like his whole character, and I guess that was supposed to happen, right? Peacemaker was supposed to do that.
for shooting Henry Cavill's Superman with a kryptonite bullet after the events of the Justice League movie. He's a mercenary for hire, so odds are pretty good that it was Lex Luthor that hired him to shoot Superman. I also think giving Bloodsport this history with Superman would have tied in with that original storyline James Gunn was going to do, where
Monster
the
Nom
Suicide
Nom,
Squad would
yeah.
have gone after Superman instead of going after Starro. As they introduce the rest of that team, Bloodsport crosses paths with some of the members of Team 1, may they rest in peace. They make that funny joke about Peacemaker being the exact same as Bloodsport, having the exact same abilities. Like, what? Like, Amanda Waller literally uses the same sentence to introduce him. His father trained him to kill him from the moment he was born. In his hands, anything is a deadly weapon. The exact same sentence she used to explain Bloodsport's character earlier. Like I said, this whole twist is meant to set up her eventual ruse in the double cross that happens later.
Megladouche.
They introduce King Shark.
That was so
probably one of my
funny.
favorite characters during the film. He's voiced by Sylvester Stallone, if you couldn't tell. Sylvester Stallone, also another one of those Marvel actors from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They set up King Shark's backstory briefly, saying that he is the son of a shark god and a human woman. They do try to use his actual birth name in the movie a couple times. His real name is Nanawe. The upside down book that he's reading when they introduce him is just Varieties of Religious Experience, which is a book written by a Harvard professor that's a psychological study of individual private religious experiences and mysticism. So it's just meant to show you that he is trying his best to be a good boy. He just wants to make friends. He is trying to be deeper as a character here. Like there's more going on inside him. They introduce Ratcatcher 2. She's the daughter of the original Ratcatcher character from the DC Comics, played by Taika Waiti, also from the Thor movies, another Marvel actor slash director. Her main rat friend, Sebastian, was actually a combination of special effects and a real rat that they used on set. And the funny coincidence here, because we just met King Shark, is that the rat that they used in the movie was named Jaws in real life. Polka Dot Man was probably one of the MVPs of the movie. He got to stick it to his mother one last time.
Bro, that's
and
what I'm
become a
saying.
superhero.
That's what I'm
They explained
saying.
that his mother was a former Star Lab scientist who experimented.
I was so upset about Milton, man. Dude was a trooper. Oh my god, that's. But the progression of this movie, bro. You know how.
On her
You
children,
know how it's gonna go.
infecting them with an alien virus from another dimension, hoping that it would give them powers. And it did, just not the fun kind of powers. His body generates those polka dots that explode, and he has to discharge them a couple times a day or they'll consume his body from the inside out. The whole scene of King Shark getting so hungry that he tries to eat Ratcatcher 2 is just to bring them closer together as friends, set up his arc, his desire to actually have a friend, as he says he hasn't got any. They also established Bloodsport's irrational fear of rats here too, but they explained that it was because of the way his father tortured him as a child, sticking him in the box of starving rats for a full day, and setting up the payoff for the end of the movie where he's finally
For
able
real,
to
man.
pet
Got
Sebastian,
murked.
who falls asleep on his leg. Bloodsport
Got
and
sniped.
Peacemaker have their WTF kill count contest when they think that they're saving Rick Flagg from the rebels.
Oh, dude, this was so fucked up. This was so fucked up, dude.
Setting up the end of the movie with their big gunslinger standoff moment, each one of them trying to outdo the other with more creative kills. Like Bloodsport criticizes him for using bullets that are too big, and Peacemaker laughs in his face, but setting up the big twist where he's able to defeat Peacemaker using the smaller round. They introduced that new Corto Maltese dictator and his general while explaining Starro's backstory and how he came to Earth, and Peter Capaldi's Thinker. He's playing a version of the Thinker from the New 52 Suicide Squad comics that they never really gave a name to, so in this movie James Gunn just calls him Gaius Graves. They explained that Starro wound up being taken in by American astronauts in the 1990s when he drifted into Earth's orbit near their shuttle, and after he mind-controlled them and brought their shuttle back to the US, the government captured him.
Yeah, the whole
took him to
Oppo
Corto
scene was
Maltese,
messed up.
where they
Yeah,
could
it was for
experiment on him
sure.
on this old Nazi base that they had taken over and weaponize his mind control abilities. That's also when the American government set up the previous dictator by making the bargain with him to get rid of the old Nazis, get them out of Jotunheim so that the American government could move in with Starro. So that's really why the American government is kind of the true villain of the film. They haul in Harley Quinn because this dictator wants a political marriage with her to legitimize himself in the eyes of the locals of Corto Maltese because they view her, at least on the island, as a rebel hero because they themselves are kind of rebels. When she turns on a dime and kills him, explaining the promise she made to herself to kill any man she got close to if she sensed a red flag, that's a reference to her history with the Joker. Most of the tattoos that you see on here too are tattoos from the events of the first film, like she's had these tattoos for a long time. Back with the surviving team members, they set up their plan to capture the
Dude, I
Thinker
think I have,
and set up
like-
the twist with Polka Dot Man's mother. Where's your mother now? Oh, she's everywhere, because he cannot stop hallucinating
My
her.
thumb
And I
hurts,
do love the
dude.
joke about King Shark trying to disguise himself with the fake mustache.
Like-
But nope, Shark wearing pants
I
and
don't
a fake
know.
mustache just aren't going to cut it. It's very similar to the joke with Drax being invisible during Infinity War. When Amanda Waller says that she's playing golf with Senator Cray this weekend, Joseph Cray is a shady U.S. senator in the comics, implied to be selling government information. He was also a character they used during Arrow Season 1. He was one of the people on Oliver's list. So just reinforcing the idea that Amanda Waller has a lot of dealings with very shady governmental figures. When they actually go to the bar and start drinking and bonding, even Sebastian the Rat getting a drink, there's another Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy cameo scene from Pom Klementieff, who plays Mantis in those movies.
Oh,
She's
I
one of the
thought
dancers
she looked
performing on
familiar.
stage.
I thought she looked
Peacemaker
familiar.
calls Bloodsport Inspector Gadget just because of the way his weapons work. Rick Flagg says that it could
Oh,
be
I
their
totally
last
missed
drink
that.
together,
I
and
totally
it is
missed that.
foreshadowing his eventual death because he gets killed off by Peacemaker shortly after this. Then Bloodsport uses the exact same trick Amanda Waller used at the beginning of the movie, splitting the team in half using half of them as a distraction, getting captured on purpose, allowing the other half to escape with the Thinker. Then they use those creative transitions for more commentary jokes. Operation Jotunheim. No, wait, Operation Harley, because we have to go save Harley Quinn first. Which they pay off by having Harley
Rick
Quinn
Flagg,
save herself.
yeah.
And the cool thing here is that Margot Robbie actually performed all of these stunts when she was stealing the keys, unlocking the lock on her own.
Dude,
Like,
this
she
was
really used
awesome.
her foot to yoink that key and then pull it over her head and unlock it with her toes. James Gunn said the whole montage of her killing all the guards with the
This part right
flowers
here
and
was
the
my
javelin
favorite
was
part
always
right here.
planned to be this way. It's meant to be her
That was so
perception
good.
of what's happening as it unfolds. Like we're seeing what Harley Quinn is imagining around her while she's killing these guards. I also love the way they intercut this with the montage of Rick Flagg's team preparing to break in and save her, timed perfectly so that just as they roll into action, she's walking up with the javelin, like, hey guys, what's up?
You know what's so funny about this part that I noticed was that, check this out.
Perfectly, so that just as they roll into action, she's walking up with the javelin, like, hey guys, what's up?
My man was about to do all this stuff with his sandals, bro. He was literally about to save fucking Harley Quinn with some chanclas on, bro. I'm talking about some sandals. With the chanclas, that's what I'm saying, bro.
What's up? When they're charging the front door and King Shark seems like he hulks out, just ripping the guard in half.
Oh, that was a good
the
scene
reason why
too.
he seems like he gets way more powerful is because he actually does get more powerful when he's in water. Then as half the group sets all the charges to blow up the base, Thinker takes Rick Flagg and Ratcatcher to his Starro lab in the basement levels and reveals the full scope of the US government's dirty little secrets, highlighted by the other funny creative transition with the elevator button. Thinker explains the American government's been sponsoring his research this whole time for the past 30 years, trying to weaponize Starro. When he says he named him Starro the Conqueror, and it's meant to be a derisive name, that's a reference to his original comic book name, when he first debuted in the Justice League comics. He was the Justice League's very first team-up villain. Later at the end of the movie, when they flash that Suicide Squad versus Starro the Conqueror title, that's also a reference to that original Justice League comic book. Starro begs Rick Flagg to help him escape, saying Thinker's been torturing him for the past 30 years, and he's not lying. You're supposed to feel bad for Starro, even though he does wind up killing a ton of people in a little while. Rick Flagg vows to release the evidence of the US government's deceptions to the rest of the world. Peacemaker then pulls his double cross, revealing Amanda Waller's secret deception. They have their knockdown, drag-out fight to the death, and even though you can see Peacemaker feels really bad about it, he does kill Rick Flagg, so R.I.P. While this is happening, though, the bombs have already gone off and the building's collapsing around them, so they flash back in time.
That was
to
so
show
sad,
you what was
too.
happening with the other half of the team before
I was
the bombs
happy
went
just
off.
staring
You
at
see
the
King Shark in
stars.
another floor of the building, trying
Man,
to
that
make
was
some new
sad.
friends, or so he thinks, until those really messed up looking alien jellyfish start eating it.
You know, every villain has their reasons, right?
If it wasn't clear, those were also meant to be aliens just like Starro, that the Thinker and the Nazis before him were experimenting on. They set up the whole Milton joke with Harley Quinn not remembering the rebel that was named Milton who was driving the car for them this whole time, later confusing Bloodsport for Milton. Nope, not my name, that's not who I am. Polka Dot Man accidentally sets off the explosives, blowing the building in half, and that's when their timeline catches up with the events of the Peacemaker versus Rick Flagg and Ratcatcher scenes. So that just as Bloodsport has his WTF funny scene falling through all the different floors, he lands smack dab in front of them just in time to see what Peacemaker is doing. He just sees the double cross and immediately understands what's going on, and they have their big gunslinger standoff moment, finally paying off the reference about.
I just gotta say, dude, this movie was so good. It was so good, bro. It really was. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. Like, it was just so good. It was a fun movie. Like, I'm glad it was good. Yeah, man, it was a fun movie. Like, one of those for sure. It's one of those you gotta go out and see for sure. It redeemed, yeah. I mean, with what DC is doing recently, especially even with the Snyder cut, like everything's, it's all good. It's all good for sure. The next Batman coming out, I'm so excited for that, bro. I'm so excited for that Batman. Like, I can't believe it. Joker, like everything DC is doing right now in this moment is so fucking good. It's quality shit. Quality shit.
Which type of bullet was best. Earlier in the movie when they were arguing about who was the better crack shot, and then later Peacemaker bragging about his larger rounds. Bloodsport beats him by using a much smaller round to pierce his bullet, then gets him in the throat, causing him to bleed so fast that he passes out, setting up the events of the post-credit scene. Then he takes the hard drive of evidence, also setting up his bargain with Amanda Waller at the end of the movie. Steve Agee's John Economos character makes a kaiju reference, and Amanda Waller orders the team to bail on the island. And even though they're kind of vague as to why, She says it's not their problem anymore. The whole idea is that the base was destroyed, and that was the mission, destroy the data. She never really cared about destroying the actual Starro monster. It implies that any damage the Starro is going to cause now on the island, they'll just blame on the local dictator and let somebody else clean up. Like, it's not America's problem anymore. And just to reinforce the idea of how despicable she is during
Here's
this
to
movie,
hoping the Flash,
when they try to
Shazam
state
2,
to
and
help
Black
the
Adam will be
locals,
good.
she legit
That's what
tries
I'm
to
saying.
detonate all the bombs in their heads and is only stopped when the support staff rebels, knocking her out before she can. They pay off the joke about Polka Dot Man's mother when he supercharges his attack, disabling Starro. He gets to be a superhero for one single hot minute before he goes out, R.I.P. They pay off Ratcatcher 2's ability with the Army of Rats and Harley Quinn's javelin joke from the beginning of the movie, like, oh, now I know what this was for this whole time. In R.I.P. Starro, they imply that he's dead at the end of the movie, but because of the way he spawns, there could always be another version of Starro that spawned and survives into future DC movies. Bloodsport uploads that evidence to a private cloud server and agrees not to release it so long as Amanda Waller lets them all go free and doesn't retaliate, and finally accepts the friendship of Sebastian the Rat. Then the first post-credit scene is just meant to be a funny moment paying off the Weasel joke from the beginning of the movie when they killed him off or seemingly killed him off. Kind of makes some noises and looks around like, what happened,
I hate
everybody?
this
Where'd
thing.
everybody go?
I hate this
and
thing.
then just lopes off into the jungle all funny like, off to eat more children, I guess. He'll be like the Corto Maltese version of El Chupacabra from now on. Then the second post-credit scene actually sets up the John Cena Peacemaker HBO series. So after another short time jump, John Economos and Amelia Harcourt's characters show up at his hospital room. The doctor says he'll be fine soon, but
It was
what's the
creepy.
big deal? Why do you need him? And Amelia says they need him to help save the world. And the Peacemaker episodes will just be him going on more missions for Amanda Waller. And they also said that the Peacemaker series would cross over with other future DC movies, but they didn't say which movies those will be. James Gunn wrote all the Peacemaker episodes himself. He also directed 5 of the 8 episodes. There are 8 episodes total. They'll start in January, and I will be doing full videos for all those. If you spotted any big Easter eggs or references that I didn't talk about during the video, just write them below in the comments. Next week, Marvel's...
They're really developing Peacemaker? I didn't even know.